Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Leadership Heart Podcast with Sandra J. Horton, the Growth Catalyst. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited to be back. I have overcome that beautiful little health hiccup that basically stopped me for about 2 weeks, but we are back live today, and I'm so excited because the Leadership Heart Podcast is from my heart to all of you, and I'm so excited to be bringing an amazing woman to this podcast today. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up beautiful Bethany. Thank you, Bethany Londyn, for joining us today. That's Vibe High. That's to
Yes.
Thank
you.
Thanks for being here. You know, I had the wonderful fortune of getting to meet you through our mutual friend, the beautiful Barbie Layton, who is just this beautiful, high-vibing woman. And so are you. And I want to give a little bit of introduction to the audience. So whether people are listening live or later, Bethany, you have done so many beautiful things in this world. I'm so excited to have you here. Not only are you a beautiful, energetic corporate healer, you're an intuitive, beautiful mindset. Like, you bring leaders and individuals to that next level. You are known and internationally recognized for your intuitive master healing services. And like me, I work with CEOs and organizations, and that you are transforming not only the leaders' hearts, but their organizations. You are bringing organizations, and I love this, as an example, from 8 million to 60 million. Who doesn't want to work with someone like you, Bethany? That is powerful. And, you know, you're a writer, you're an author, you're a speaker. You are guided by something so beautiful and so profound, and you are in your purpose and your passion. So I'm excited to really dive in. There's so many beautiful things. We're going to make sure that our audience here can get access and connect to you at the end of this always, because you have created some great resourceful tools, again, to transform lives. So I'm so happy we are here today. So why don't we dive in? Let's kind of get into this beautiful opportunity to share about, how did you really come to your gifts? What was it? Was there a moment that in your life's journey that just went, hey, I have this beautiful gift, and this is what I want to do with my life?
No.
It wasn't a moment.
There wasn't a moment. Well, I have to say, first off, my mom is super religious, and when I was 7, she did bring me. She was guided to bring me to see the sun dance, and I saw the sun bleeding. I think I was 7. She recently shared the journal entry she did or something when that happened. And my mom speaks in tongues. She does all the things. For me, I've always leaned into personal growth. I loved it. I definitely loved The Secret and the Law of Attraction when it first came out a million years ago. And then Esther and Abraham Hicks, I'm sure you know. Yes. Yep. So I totally leaned into that. But when I ended up in LA, somehow I ended up surrounded by psychics. I'm like, this is so interesting. Like, I used to have to pay to go see these people. Now they're just everywhere.
They're just coming at me, right?
Yeah. And then like my friend was like, Bethany, that's because you are intuitive too. I'm like, no, I'm not. They're like, yeah, remember that dream you had about those people getting together? And like this couple had got married that were just friends and like weren't even dating. And so just a few things started happening. I'm like, So it was like it was like someone had to plant the seed within me for me to acknowledge it and watch it grow or grow it,
Right.
I should
Yeah.
say. And
I
then I
get that.
started reading, diving in, got certified in the theta healing. My first book, I don't remember what it's called, was by Sonia Choquette, if you know her.
Yep.
She's a beautiful intuitive. So yeah, so I just kept following the guidance. And then with the theta healing, I was creating all these magical results. I had a coach that was an executive coach for Google. Hire
Oh,
him.
wow.
Turns out he's for Google. And
Yeah.
then it turns out he was a shaman. And I
Oh,
didn't know that in the beginning. And he's like, Bethany, there's something about your energy and you need to work with companies because you bring opportunities to people. So I wasn't even really doing my thing then. I mean, I would like here and there, the theta healing stuff, but it was him that really saw this container that I hold that brings opportunities to everyone that's around them. Like I'll date guys and their incomes will also double.
okay, so
Like
that's a note to the
there's
men out
something to it. Like, yeah. So
there.
it's like once you're in my container, whether you're a paying client or your friend, like I swear all my friends are really embracing their intuitiveness, and that was never their track or their interest, but they're surrounded by me. They hear me talk and they're like, now like, oh, that doesn't feel right, Bethany, or what I'm getting in my gut is this. And I'm like, I just love my friends.
But it's so powerful because, I want to tap into that moment because, as a woman leader, I was not for a very long time, and I think many people, would resonate with this, not in tune with their intuition. They may not fully be awoken up to, I call them heart signals. Body, your emotions,
Mm.
they're showing up with those signals. So, how do you or how have you been able to help people tap in, connect, to feel, to awaken? That to me is what this is kind of prompting me to go
Yeah.
into.
Yeah. Working with that executive coach, shaman, he used to always ask me, so where do you feel this in your body? Like if I was complaining about something, he's like, where do you feel this in your body? And I'm like, what do you mean, where do I feel this in my body? Why are you asking me that? I was so annoyed every time. He's like, I don't want to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. I'm like, I don't know. I don't even understand. Like, I couldn't fathom what that meant. Now it makes perfect sense. So I know there's people out there that are probably maybe even listening where they're like, what? I don't get it either, Bethany. So he would be like, is there a heaviness in your chest? Is it in your stomach? Like your shoulders? Like, what are you feeling? What sensations in your body? And I didn't realize, but I was so disconnected from my body at that time. And I was just operating from my head up. Right. So as I learned for me, I think it was a 2-year process to really train myself to listen to my gut. My clients are usually within like 3 months. They're like connected. I mean, they're connected sooner, but like where they're like trusting themselves, right? Because that's a whole nother aspect of listening to your
I
body
was
is
going
the
to say
trust.
that's another interesting aspect. So what I'm hearing you say is
Mm-hmm.
started and begin to awaken, so people become self-aware of their emotions, where they're feeling things. Is that what I'm hearing then? Is that you begin that, and then they kind of take this journey with you?
Yeah. Because I think once you do feel in your body, which by the way, if you are having trouble, I ended up making a YouTube thing that's all about getting in touch with your body. But another way you can do is yoga nidra. When they're like, listen to your toes, feel your toes, now your ankle. And you just start paying attention to the sensations as someone's like walking you through your body. Mine's it's the Ho'oponopono, which is like a whole nother level. So it brings the healing
I love
aspect into it.
it. Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, you got to get in touch. So I would do this. And he was like, are you listening to your yoga nidra? And I'm like, no. Okay, I got to do that. But now I'm at the point where I'm talking to people and I'm feeling things like real strong. I can be walking down the street and I'll be like, oh, just got stabbed in the back. Or someone called me they were messaging me and I just felt stabbed in the back. I'm like, yeah, not working with this person. Right. So I feel things intensely now. Like I am in touch.
That is so
But anyone can
beautiful.
do this.
And that's the thing. I wanted to really just have that moment of stopping, of breath, of wherever you are in your
Mhm.
life, for me, it was that moment of just the breath, of stopping, of becoming aware of that present moment, and then beginning that exploration from the inside out and learning to awaken to these feelings within. So, do you find, and I'm going to kind of tangent because you do a lot of work now with individuals, but also with leaders and organizations. So, in this work, how are you able to take these leaders who are on full force right now? They're working, they're running, they're, energetically all over the place. What do you do to bring them in? To like basically surround them and give them this new mindset. This, you've done a lot of work with the quantum leap. So maybe, is that kind of that new process that you're inviting them into to go through that process? So maybe we can kind of jump into that. Like, what do you do?
What do I do? Well, first off, I have to say there's something about the container that I hold, which might not make sense, but it's in my energetic field. It's not necessarily what I do, it's who I be. So I represent the expansion or the quantum leap for people. So that's why they have lots of things that happen. Now, I'm starting to I'm working on figuring out a group kind of coaching or mastermind, because so far everything has been one-on-one for the most part. Like, I'll do group healings. I mean, I do those a lot, but like an intimate small group and having like a regular structure, that's a little bit different. I will say a lot of times I'm always going back to like mom and dad stuff, clearing the childhood. I mean, everything's between 0 and 7, which I'm sure is on every single episode. Someone talks about that, mentions it. So really paying attention to that. I also do a lot of past life stuff. So who was I talking to the other day? I was working with somebody and they're having this really challenging situation where they're being questioned for their integrity, let's say. And so I go back because they're a super integrous person. But I go back all the way to a past life where this would happen. This had happened in like another form. And it's like, I saw this whole town and people were like throwing and they were on this platform and they were going to be hung or something like that. Usually, honestly, I kind of forget sessions because they're just so guided. Yeah. But like that is an example of something that I'll do and clear. And then all of a sudden you come out, the next day and things feel lighter, or the client might have more ideas or opportunities that come from or through to them. Cause similar to feng shui is always like organizing your place, cleaning it up, putting an object here so that it brings that in this other aspect that you want in your life. It's kind of like I'm doing feng shui to the body.
That's so cool. I love that.
Moving stuff. Maybe that should be another tagline. Feng shui for the body. So I'm moving stuff around that is in the field, their home, which is the body. And then that creates opportunity for new things to flood in.
To kind of like release and let go. And I think for leaders, if they're so focused here and they're not potentially connected, this is what I find, that they're so focused on their work, they're so focused on driving and doing in the beingness of their life. They haven't taken that time to stop. So what I'm hearing is that you're working with these individuals, these leaders, to be able to have that moment of, it's clear, let's see where you're at in order to then expand, to open up. So in the quantum leap, it talks about the mindset. It talks about, that connection into the behaviors and then like the action. So let's kind of dive into that mindset. So what do you feel are the essential pieces, or, that people, individuals need to have that mindset? Is it like, for me, the positivity? Is it the belief system? Like, what is that mindset supposed to be, if I could ask that question?
Yeah. You've probably heard of the be, do, have.
Correct. I have.
Okay. I have also heard of the be, do, have 1,000 times, like so many times. okay, I get it. I can't have until I be and do. So become it, and then, you manifest it, right?
And then you get it. You
And
manifest.
then you
Yeah.
get it. And I'm like, okay, sounds great. Amazing. So more recently, so I've been doing the healing stuff since like 2014, basically. I have been, let's say, dabbling into it. So my big quantum leap happened in 2020 when I invested, first off, I invested in myself the most I'd ever invested in like, I've invested a lot more than this, but like for a one course kind of thing.
Yeah.
And during that time of investing in myself, knowing I have a gift, know I'm going to expand it, I also took another course that had to do with manifesting. And her thing that she talks about is what is it? I'm like, I have it right here. It's like the hierarchy of change. That's what it's called, the hierarchy of change. And for some reason, this one really resonated with me more than the be do have. So it's like a triangle, and at the top you have spirit. I'm like, okay, super connected, got it. I got that one. The next one's identity. And I'm like, yeah, I'm struggling with identity. The next one, I have it right here. So I'm looking at it. Values and beliefs. I have values. I have beliefs about myself. And then the next thing is capabilities, behaviors, and then you have results, the experience that you manifest. So a little bit, apparently I needed be to have to be a little more difficult, but when I go through that list, I needed more details. I know it's so simple. When I went through this and I'm writing like what I want as the result, the experience at the end, I had everything else. Like I have all the knowledge. I have the gifts. I have plenty of testimonials out there to show how amazing I am. However, I wasn't owning it. The identity was the one thing that I was missing, the embodiment of who I am and what I'm creating in my life. And that straight back goes to the B of the be do have.
Yeah,
right
bring
there.
it in.
But it was like, as soon as I was like, oh my gosh, mind blown, it's for some reason, it's like, I could say something in a reel that you've heard 1,000 times, but however I said it, it finally just lands. And so the hierarchy of change really landed for me, and the identity part. And as soon as I was like, I am embodying that I am the biggest badass master healer ever, let me just tell you, I started signing up so many clients. Like they started showing up out of the blue, like on Google, and they would come to me, and I was like, okay, how'd you hear about me? They're like, Google. And I'm like, did you look at any of my YouTubes or my website? No. Like, so it was just so powerful, right? It was like, I owned it. And that power, if you also want to think of like your chakras and like really being ignited in your chakras, it like sent out the message, hey, she's here, ready to support you. And I just start calling them.
It's so interesting. Like I'm actively listening and reflecting on
the
stories that, all of us go through. Before we began, we were talking about, have you had a crazy week this week? It's interesting, isn't it? That in the craziness, what I heard you say is taking not only accountability, but integrating the essence of who you are, like accepting, integrating, bringing it in and becoming it. Sometimes we can live with kind of a deceit of ourselves. In the work that I do, I find that some people, individuals, those limiting beliefs, the self-sabotaging ways, the things that keep people in lower energy prevent them from truly accepting what you've just spoken about. We can speak it, but we're not living it. We're not the being of it. We haven't integrated it into ourselves. I remember that moment when I did that. I had one of those integrity moments where I was challenged. I don't know if you remember that. The bursting open of these childhood things, because I had been challenged with the integrity and I hadn't stepped into that ownership, the releasing of that core wound. I think individuals, leaders, wherever you are in your journey, all have to go there, don't we? We can talk it, but until we step into it, kind of almost taking it into ourselves, we have to kind of peel back those onions, don't we? Those shells, those facades.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. And also, if you're having trouble, like you're like, I want to be a billionaire, and you're having trouble really being in that space, because I talk to a lot of CEOs and that's their goal. I mean, I'll throw myself into it. It's like, there's not really a heart connection for me to be a billionaire. I just like the sound of it, being it, and like achieving that, right?
Why not? Like, let's go.
I'm like, I probably should like do work if that's really something that I want.
Yeah.
But it's like you've got to figure out the embodiment of it and attach that heart to it, the passion, you know.
And knowing, and this is the interesting part, you know, working with different individuals, because you're intuitive, you feel it, you can see it as well. Many people have different gifts, right? Like you sense that person, and you can kind of see some of their blocks. Perhaps it's in, you know, in their mind, or perhaps it's in their body. They're holding things inside. It's, you know, do you have any gifts or tips for individuals to begin to awaken to perhaps those blocks, you know, that may show up that maybe you're not aware of? Like, I'm thinking of your beautiful journal that you've created. I just got a little shifting right now. So I'm like, okay, good. We're on track here, because that journal that you've created, I feel will help to do this work. So tell us all about it, Bethany.
Yeah, this journal is not normal. It's so good. It drives me nuts sometimes. That's how good it is, because it's like it can be work. It can be work. I know some people just want everything to be easy, and I want it to be easy. But really, the work that is done here is like creating foundations in your system. So I have morning manifestations, and then I have evening expansions. So like the morning manifestations, I'm talking about like one of the prompts. These are all prompts. It's not free flow. It's 1 reason today will be amazing. You write that down. 3 reasons I can be successful with my desired outcomes. So you write down 3 reasons, like if you're going for a goal, right? Yeah. What are 3 things that have recently happened or happened in your past that can prove to you, cement that neural pathway that you've got this? Because, hey, I manifested a car that I really wanted and had no idea, and it was less expensive than the one I was driving that was like 7 years old. So things like writing that down. Okay, I wrote a book. I have, created a journal. Like, these prompts are things that I have come up with over a year's period of time, stuff that Abraham Hicks is all about, like judging. I have write positive aspects about yourself. I have write positive aspects about someone else, because when we're doing that, then we're grounding ourselves and looking for the positive things versus, oh, that person is doing this, I don't like that, and just reacting to that. But once you start grounding in the positive, then it's going to shift. So I have all these prompts, and like instead of a to-do list, it's a manifestation list. So think about, and you can do this without the journal, if you want to write down all the things you get to do. But instead of writing it that way, you write down the actual result of you doing the action, because that would be the manifestation.
And that's so key, everyone. That is, it's right there, is that you are not only committing it, because we know in many great, infinite intelligence, God source, whatever it is for you, we know we need to not only elevate, but we need to be committed. We need to be persistent, and we have to get clear. We have to be clear and have clarity. So how clear, or how can people get that clarity? I believe by doing what you're saying there will help. What else helps individuals get that beautiful, crystal clear, this is what I want, this is how I'm going to do it? Because I know you know how to do it.
I've done workshops at companies where I take their mission and I align it to the people. and like their personal mission. Because if you keep saying, why do I want this? Why do I, why?
Yeah.
It's usually to be seen and loved. Loved really is at the core of everything. So when you can start to connect your why and realize that it's the same as like for the company, because we're talking about leadership, connect those together, like it's very powerful. And then you don't have this, oh my gosh, I need to get another job, or this isn't working, or I'm not aligned. By my other book, my book is Get Aligned Now.
I love that.
It's all about alignment. So finding out, and I really am not a huge fan of the word why, but finding what makes your heart sing, what makes your heart, oh my gosh, should I go on a tangent? Are we?
We're good. We can go on a tangent.
Okay. I need to do a video on this.
Okay.
So I was scrolling through my Instagram and this pastor starts preaching, don't listen to your heart.
What?
Listen to God. Don't listen to your heart, listen to your God. And I'm like, what? Seriously, people? And I went through all the comments and it was, everybody was agreeing with him. So if you're me, you recognize that God is within you. And before I do any healing or anything like that, I actually connect and I make sure I'm connected to God first before I do anything. Before I work with a spirit guide, before I work with tachyon rods, before I work with anything, really, I connect to God, source, divine first. But it was just such a tangent. I had to go there.
It's a moment, though, because that's a lesson. That's the interesting part. Like when these situations and circumstances come up, it's your ability. And what I love about you is your ability to hold space, to be able to look at these things and say, okay, what's showing up for me? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? And then taking that next step. And that must have been very powerful for you because, for me, I would say, and the individuals that I work with, which are many leaders and CEOs as well, that there's that huge disconnect. It's almost like and I'm always mindful of the power of words, because words are energy, is expressed through our words. And so mindfulness of the words that I'm choosing now, because for change to happen, we need to be very mindful of if we say something and it's not in alignment with what truly will help us change, that can be a challenge for us. I hope that made sense, because for me, I think learning through this journey, I can speak for my own personal journey as well. I see people having those aha moments just by sheer words, the words that all of a sudden awaken someone to a new truth. So in what you were just sharing, working with these organizations, working with leaders, where do you see them waking up first? Do you think it's through the words that they change how they address people? They go inside, they change their words to connect to people. What is it that kind of helps them, really find that new way forward? That's what came to me right now, that will serve someone out there. I don't know why.
Well, and I'm looking at the name of your podcast right here, the Leadership Heart Podcast. So it's connecting to the heart. It's connecting to the heart. Once you're connected to your own heart, you can connect with other people around you. And a lot of times in the organizations, it's all surface level stuff. You might have like your few groupies that you hang out with, right? But when you can connect to your heart and that opens up, there's another level of vulnerability. And sometimes it also can create guardedness, but like preferably you lean into the vulnerability because that's where the power is. And then you speak your truth from that space. And when you can speak, answer questions, really speak from your heart and your like the truth that you're experiencing, then it's going to land with the people around you differently. They're going to respond differently. And to add another fun thing onto this, one of my friends. This is a friend. This is an example of how friends shift. This is a new friend. God, so good. It's so good. He has this pain in the butt client, or not client, boss.
Yeah.
And the boss speaks really mean. Like they're just very negative, very degrading, all that stuff. He's like, you know what, Bethany? I am just going to imagine that the way she's communicating to me is super loving, and I'll take her questions and I'm going to respond to her as though it was really loving. And it's working. And I'm like, oh my God, you're obviously hanging out with me, aren't you? Because just through the imagining of it, he's actually shifting her.
Yes.
Energetically.
Beautiful. It's powerful.
So fun.
Because you are transmitting. This is the key point. It's
fun. It's like he's having fun with it, right? It's because it's kind of comical to him what he's doing. But yeah.
But that's the power of being that you're almost like you are energetically transferring in a higher frequency, and people are picking up on it. It's so powerful. Like, and that's the key here, I feel, in learning and really kind of exploring what you do, as well as kind of, landing kind of what I do as well. It's understanding the power of going within to transform our subconscious mind, because we can exist, we can reprogram, repattern our subconscious mind, and it can serve us, where most individuals don't realize that. I want people to wake up to that reality, like really, like wake up and decide to choose today to say, no thanks, I'm done with that old way of being. If that boss is treating me a certain way, or if, like we said earlier today, we're coming in, it's kind of a chaotic world, we're just kind of going with the flow. But it's like, no, I'm choosing a new way forward. I'm going to have my mind work for me. And that begins with that choice. It's a choice, isn't it, Bethany? To choose, if I'm not happy with the results I'm getting, stop, and then choose. For me, it's about gratitude.
Oh, yeah. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrations.
It is. So I know in your book, in your beautiful journal, you talk about that, with gratitude. And do you bring that into your work as well for leaders and organizations? Because I think gratitude and being grateful, and what I'm hearing is, that person imagined what that person would be like, and living in a positive, higher frequency and gratitude for that individual. It's a powerful practice, isn't it?
Totally. So, yeah, because you can remove yourself from the situation, or you can just shift the narrative that's running around you by what you create.
Yeah.
Which might be a little hard to understand, but does it make sense to you?
It does make sense to me. And
all the people, I'm just going to say you get it.
and that's the cool thing. When I do the Leadership Heart podcast, I want it to be flowing, and it may seem like it goes in different ways, but there are segments, there are little nuggets in different areas that perhaps someone would go, hey, wait, that makes sense to me, that may resonate for me, and I want to create that change. So in all your beautiful experiences working with individuals one-on-one, being a beautiful intuitive coach and someone who's greatly gifted, what would be your top 3 tips or strategies to help leaders, individuals, to begin today to change? Can you share?
All right. First off, my book Get Aligned is about body intelligence. So listening to your body, which we started this off with. 100% learning to listen to your body. If you feel disconnected like I was, hopefully it doesn't take you 2 years to get back in track. But yeah, listening to some yoga nidra, or the one that I have on YouTube. So that's first. And then noticing what's happening in your body. Like, are you feeling lumps in your throat when you're about to speak? That's a block. Acknowledge it. If you start coughing when you're about to, speak or want to speak and you're not choosing, like, notice the things that are happening in your body. So that's another thing. That's really, to me, is your truth. That is your truth of your body speaking, which is so much more powerful than the mind, because the mind's operating through all the stories that have been presented to you throughout your whole entire life. Okay, so third, I would say, is how you were talking about gratitude. One exercise that I've been giving I do a free global healing monthly. It's all about changing the world, actually, but it also supports you as an individual.
Ooh, I
One
got
person can
goosebumps.
support.
Powerful. It's so
Oh, yeah, it
wonderful.
is. Oh, I love that. Yeah, one person can easily affect 750,000 when we get you to a level of love. So the exercise that I downloaded during that was to walk around and say this 100 times a day. I don't know if I've done it maybe a couple times, but walking around and being like, oh, I love my shirt. I love this painting. I love this podcast that we're having. It's kind of like a gratitude thing, but you're just starting to say, I love, I love, I love, I love. And then the idea is that you're going to continue to say, I love, and just you're spreading that. It continues on.
Yeah.
So try that on. Let
Love
us know
it.
how it goes. I want to hear how it shifts things for you. Yeah.
It takes the simple little steps, isn't it? It's a commitment to make a choice today, to change, to live from your heart connected to your mind to a higher calling and consciousness. It is a journey, and the great work you're doing with the quantum leap. I have it written down. It's about the mindset first, right? We need to work here. And then we need to be able to move into what's next, Bethany, that people need to do. Start with the mind, begin. What's the next step?
The body.
The body. Connect, feel, understand, feeling. Because the power of feeling is what will change what the resulting next step is then.
And it puts you in a place of presence too. So in a space of listening to your body, you are more aware of what's happening around you from a different angle as well. There's so many benefits.
But it's so beautiful. And I think that's the great thing. Why I was called with the heart, like the leadership heart. It's not directing and pushing and demanding and being that leader up on top.
Mm-hmm.
Things have changed. We're raising and elevating the consciousness. This is what my purpose and my passion in life is, to raise individuals and organizations, not only to scale, but and how you do that is through consciousness. It's becoming aware, connecting to the heart, to your mind, and then going through this beautiful journey. So how can people reach you? Because you're doing amazing work for individuals and leaders. This is the key. I want to make sure that our viewers can come and connect with you.
Oh, thank you.
Best way to meet with you.
You can always go to my website. Now, my name is spelled a little bit different. It's Bethany Londyn, LONDYN.com. My Instagram, I posted a lot of like little snippets about my life that I think are entertaining for people and hopefully getting across some sort of fun message too. So that's Bethany Londyn. You can basically find me Bethany Londyn everywhere. And on Amazon, you can find my book anywhere. Get a line now. So yeah, I'm out there. I'm everywhere.
Just take action. This is the key.
Woo! Oh, and I have a podcast.
Let's get that podcast in there, girlfriend.
I just started my podcast, The Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap Your Business and Life. So I'm super excited to be interviewing business owners who have quantum leaped in their business. And oh my gosh, it's so fun. As you know, I didn't know. I've done a podcast before and it was really draining. This is really fun.
It is.
So it's aligned. That's how you know it's aligned.
It's beautifully interesting. And I truly have the greatest gratitude for this opportunity to flow with you, to be, a manifestor, to be abundant. And, wherever I would offer this for everyone who's listening now or has listened or will listen in the future, give yourself that beautiful grace with ease to accept where you are in these moments. And know you have a choice today to change. You can be anything and all things. We have one beautiful life. So
Yes.
love on yourself. Be of service, love others, and share the love. Be the love. And bring that
Be
to
the love.
your leadership. Imagine.
Be do have.
Be do have. Because imagine your life. Feel what it would feel like to be that amazing best version of yourself. Hear what you need to hear. And then go and do it. Don't let anything stop you. That's the truth. We all have stories. We all have these journeys, but we don't need to be our past. We don't need to be anxious about the future. We just need to be beautifully present with who we are. Love. And then, as you said, Bethany, in closing, is to embrace ourselves. Bring it in.
Yes.
Walk it. Be it. I love it. Thank you so much. I'm going to call this an end to our beautiful podcast today. But you come and find this beautiful podcast on Spotify, on Apple, and it will be posted in the next day or so. Thank you so much. I will be back here next Friday with another amazing guest on the Leadership Heart podcast. Thank you from my heart to you. Absolutely, Bethany. I just love you. Thank you for this gift.
Thank you. So fun.
Bye now. Thank you.